1, 2, 3, 4.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, Natty make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? It's Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine Babbles. Wanted to throw out a little OCO to all of my real ones out there. OCO, everyone. Today is December 26th that I'm recording this. You will get this December 27th on the second day of Kwanzaa. That's right. This is episode 123 of the Babylon 5 Podcast, and we're calling this bad boy Kwanzaa 21. Thank you guys so much for being here. As I've said, and I'll say it again, I'm your faithful host, Jermaine Babbles, and this is the Babylon 5 Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is an interesting night. Tonight, it has not premiered yet. It has not aired. It might be airing in like 2 minutes or either. I think it airs at 9. The show that I'm referring to, Insecure. Shout out to Issa Rae, who depicted black people in such a way that I had never seen on TV. You know what I'm saying? That just was so amazing to me. My whole plan, like I saw it, like, because my mindset for like 2 years straight was to move to Atlanta. And then I didn't move to Atlanta, and I was like, man, why was I on that? And as I go back and see, like, old Facebook things and, like, and it's, like, especially with the old podcast that I was on back in those days, when Insecure first came out, we would talk about Insecure and whatnot. I was, like, in my Wisconsin prime, fed up with white people, and I was ready to move the fuck to Atlanta and just, like, in my mind, never associate with white people anymore. That was my goal for like 2 years. And then me and Sarah, we had already knew each other, and there was already that vibe. But then we started hanging out, and you know, a nigga turned into T-Pain, ladies and gentlemen. Talking, I'm sprung. Dog, she got me doing things I never do. If you ain't been, I'm telling you, I'm sprung. Dog, she got me doing things like staying in Wisconsin instead of moving to Atlanta to just live out my black-only life. You know what I'm saying? That's where I was when Insecure, things like Insecure in Atlanta came out, like the show Atlanta. Shout out to Donald Glover, that's coming back, thankfully, in March. But shows like that depicted black people in such a dope way for me. But Insecure, man, I just loved everything about that show from the start. And it comes to an end tonight. Tonight's the series finale. It honestly seemed like in last episode that they left more cliffhangers, and it's like, how the hell are you going to end this whole show with what you niggas just did in the last episode there? But I'm excited to see this. Lawrence need to get his ass whooped. Like, he need to get his ass whooped. I don't want to hear, I seen motherfuckers posting like, now she needs to chase. No, Lawrence, even if she choose Lawrence needs to catch an ass whooping. That's just how that needs to go down there. Lawrence need to catch an ass whooping for how that went down. But I just want to say, like, thank you to everybody involved in the show, man. It was just, like, super dope, man. It's dope in the way that they've even, like, depicted fucking Bloods in the show. You know what I'm saying? They depicted Bloods in a positive way. Like, how do you do that? You depicted Bloods as Bloods, but still fucking comical and just interesting. just interesting, man. This show will severely be missed by me, and I'm sure a lot more people. If you guys have never seen Insecure starring Issa Rae, you guys are definitely missing out. As I said, series finale tonight. Hopefully these motherfuckers get a movie or two. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what's coming next. More deals. I think she announced, more deals, like a studio deal. Like, after they announced that this show was ending, she announced more stuff. Because, it's like, then they're going to, you get stretching yourself too thin. So shout out to Issa Rae on all her accomplishments. She deserves them all. You know what I'm saying? Deserves them all. Shout out to Issa Rae. It's a phenomenal show. I'm gonna miss it. Also, gonna watch some Curb Your Enthusiasm, as that show is back on the air. Larry David looking damn near like he's too old to still be doing this show, but fuck, it's still fucking hilarious. I was just reading how these niggas don't really have a script. They just got pretty much the premise of what's going on, and then they go. It's just like, all right, we're in this room. This is the situation. Now go. That shit's wild. Because, I don't know, just the callbacks and, how they work it is just so perfect. I can't believe they don't really have a script in there. It's so wild, but it's great. It's great. Happy Curb is back. Happy Atlanta is coming back. Insecure is ending, unfortunately, but it's going to be nothing but dope things for Issa Rae. I don't know if you guys can tell, if you guys were listening to the last episode, as I was posting videos, matter of fact, I don't think I posted anything to Instagram today. Gotta do that. And I remember I was listening to everything, and I'm just like, fuck, man. I thought when I was recording it, I was like, I sound pretty good. You know what I'm saying? And as I'm listening back, it's like, bro, you're dropping out every other word. And I apologize to you guys for the way, but as you guys can hear here, I sound a lot better than I did last week, dude. I was just coughing a lot. I'm coughing a lot less now these days, so I'm probably pretty much getting over whatever it was. There's still occasional coughs here and there. I mean, even before I even got sick or whatever, even before I got sick, I would still always, for my entire life, when I fall asleep, I wake up coughing. And then, after I get that first coughing spell out, then I can sleep. But usually, I fall asleep, and then I wake up coughing. And, that's just been the way it is for years. So, that's nothing new that came with this. I'm coughing way less than I have been, over the past few weeks. Feeling a lot better these days. There has been migraines or some shit. Some kind of pain I've been feeling right shit. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm dying. I'm not sure what that pain I'm feeling. It's just some head pressure I suddenly feel. And it's just the lights are getting too bright. The lights are suddenly bright. It's it just hurts to be in the light. And just the left side of my head just starts to hurt. So maybe I'm dying. Who knows? I don't know. That sounds like you're potentially dying type things. I mean, I'm in my 30s. So who knows? As I said, it's December 26th. This is the last episode of the year. Yesterday was Christmas. I know a lot of people celebrate that. It seems like most of the world shuts down. Shout out to all the stores that were open. If you guys don't know the cheat codes, just realize that not everybody's Christian. So if you ever seen any of those Indian grocery stores that maybe you stopped by occasionally, maybe you frequent, but they're usually open during those holidays because not everybody's Christian. I'm not anything, but they're definitely not Christian, and their stores are still open. So give them niggas some business if you need something. Don't be like, oh shit, nothing's open on Christmas. everything's closed today. Not everything. Because not everybody is the same religion as the one that won, apparently. And you know what I mean by the one that won? Like, where our weeks are based off of the one that won, and our our everything, calendars, everything we do is all based off of the one that won. The religion battle, who can get the most motherfuckers to believe without having any proof. That's what faith is. That's the definition of faith, is believing in something that can never be proven. That's what faith is. Never be proven, or you wouldn't have faith. Like, if it's something that could be proven, you wouldn't need to have faith, because it's something that can actually be proven. But you need faith for something that you believe in, that you know you'll never know the answer to. You'll never know if you're right to believe that thing at all. You just have to have faith. So we know who won. But we also know who wins on Christmas Day. It should be everybody who's still open. And there's a lot of people open. If you guys just open your minds a little bit. Just open your minds. I'm feeling pretty good today. A lot better than I was. I just wrote on my just to give a little background here about why I'm just like, it's like, yo, this nigga's just going all over the place. I just wrote cold open for the topic. This is my cold open. I was like, I'm just gonna riff, nigga. I'm just gonna riff and see where it goes. That's my cold open here. But yeah, feeling pretty better. Frequent the shops of everybody who obviously doesn't celebrate, that doesn't follow along that calendar. There's other holidays, my nigga. There's other shit going on. Happy Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa 2021, baby. Happy Kwanzaa. I seen niggas post about Kwanzaa in Milwaukee and didn't spell Kwanzaa right. I was like, I guess it's the thought that counts. This fucking random ass holiday they made up in like the 80s in America. Calling shit like why is it called Kwanzaa? For black Americans. Why y'all call it Kwanzaa? Why is the first day Umodi? I don't understand. No, what are these names that you fucking you patronizing me right now? Why you throw these random ass names on the days and shit? Oh, Umodi means, nigga, what are you talking about? You made this up in Harlem in 1982. What are we talking about here? Umodi, nigga, get out of here. It's Kwanzaa 2021, ladies and gentlemen. This is a Babylon 5 podcast. You guys can follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter at Babylon 5 Pod. You can follow my personal account at My Name's Jermaine. You could email this podcast, or, back up. I said I'd be always saying my personal account. I guess that's my music account. That's always been my account for like everything that I've done. And recently, the Milwaukee Record posted an article, and they featured, one of the songs, it was a playlist. So let's back up here. Shout out to Silver City Studios, the guys that I record with. Shout out to Andrew, my faithful engineer. He's the best engineer in the city. Shout out to you guys. Second year in a row, they've put out their year-end playlist of things of artists that they work with. Like, this is a collection of a thing, and twice I've started off. I'm pretty sure twice now I've been the first song at the playlist, which is pretty dope. I'm honored by that. Shout out to everyone that's involved in this playlist. Sister Strings. Shout out to Milwaukee Record, who they put out a beautiful article. The guy, I think his name is like Tyler Haas. That might be his name. Shout out to Tyler Haas. He said, it gassed me up. I was at work, and I look at my phone, and he's like, and it says in there, or you're just discovering how great Jermaine event is. And I'm just like, ah. I just hear like, oh, shit, okay. You know, I was sitting there at work gassed, like, damn, that's hype. That's a nice thing to say. It's a nice thing to read in the middle of a busy-ass work day. You know what I'm saying? That was pretty cool. Shout out to the Milwaukee record. That was pretty fucking dope. Check out the Silver City year-end playlist. It's pretty dope. They've put my song, The Realist, is the first song on the playlist. So, as I said, I'm honored for that. What led me to this babble is I'm always like, you could follow my personal account at My Name's Jermaine, but that's always been my music account. You'll see it tagged in the articles all the time. It's the hashtag. So just to follow your boy and to be aware of everything that your boy is doing, follow me at both at Babylon 5 Pod and at My Name's Jermaine, because it's just where I am everywhere. I'm all over the place, ladies and gentlemen. I'm all over the place. And if you guys want to email this podcast, it's at babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You guys should favorite this podcast. If you're feeling this episode right now or any episode you've heard, go ahead and hit that like, that favorite, add this to a playlist. Do everything you can to let the algorithms on whatever streaming platform you listen to know that you love the Babylon 5 podcast so that more people can discover the Babylon 5 podcast. You guys, please do your job and just hit that like button. Do everything you can to help your boy out. It means so much to me, and I appreciate you all. If you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and follow me at twitch.tv/Babylon5. Go ahead and cop some merchandise. Go to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5pod and be my patron. Be my patron. You know, my wife pointed out to me, I didn't even realize it. I'd be kind of oblivious to certain things like this. My wife points out to me that this is the last episode of the year, ladies and gentlemen. Happy New Year to you guys. I don't really have any, I don't do, resolutions. This year, my niggas, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do that, and we're gonna do this and that and that. And then we do, two of the things, but we never discuss. Come next year, at the end of the year, we're never there's no year-end review of what the fuck you got done based off of last year's resolutions. I've never heard that. Most people quit their resolutions, by January, you know what I'm saying? So, I've just never been a fan of doing such things. I don't have any resolutions, but if you have them, good luck to you and sticking to them. You know what I'm saying? It's, as I just said to you, people quit those things right away. I don't really, I want to just keep doing what I'm doing, but harder, more consistently. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's my only goal, if anything, is just to do what I'm doing, but getting better at it more consistently. Just better, just stepping up my level at everything that I'm doing. That's literally all I have in store for 2022. Projects coming out, possibly. I'm not guaranteeing that a project is coming out next year. 2023 is definitely a possibility for me. But my main thing right now is, with what I'm working on right now, I just want to make sure everything sounds amazing. I don't want to fucking leave here and feel like, damn, I should have, once it's out, I don't want to feel like, damn, I should have added that. Or I should have did this to there. I want to, like, sit with some things, if you will, and just make sure everything is perfect for this next one, because I'm really feeling the production I'm doing on this stuff. Like, man, it was like I was working on beats for other people, and, like, there's certain sounds, and just, like, digging for certain sounds for them, I'm hearing things that I never would have fucking even come across if I wasn't trying to work on something for him. So, like, I'm just, like, so excited with the way a lot of this is sounding right now. So I can't guarantee that you guys are going to get music in 2022, but 2023 looks fucking great. I'll tell you that much. I'm just going to keep just being more consistent with everything I'm doing right now. More consistent, just better, just getting better at everything. And I hope you guys feel the same way. So, since my goal already for this episode was to just talk about, some fights or some fighters, things that have happened this year that I felt like were pretty fucking amazing. I love MMA. If you guys don't love MMA, I don't know how you've made it this far with this podcast. It's usually it's anywhere from 50 to 100% of what I'm talking about in these episodes. So if you're not a huge MMA fan, or at least slightly, at least a casual, I'm not sure how you would have made it this far. Where I love this sport so much. I love this sport. I was at the gym the other day, just yesterday actually, and my wife and I, we were doing the elliptical, and I felt like such a poser because there's some woman in there that looks like some kind of fighter or boxer or something, and she was in there so strong and so fast, nigga. She's doing the elliptical. It's like just super crazy fast. I can't even intimidate it. I can't even I can't move that fast. She was a beast in there. And I was like, dude, I'm such a poser because I don't know these local people. I need to know all these local people. I feel like I'm doing you all a disservice as an MMA guy. If I have a goal for anything with this podcast, it would be to push even harder into the MMA side of things and just really, like, if I said, like, this is usually 50 to 100, I'm trying to make sure that this is, like, at least 95% of every episode is me talking about combat sports and not so much just, like, random things. No TV shows. I mean, as the podcast grows and what it is, I could do lives, and then from there, we could, do fan talks, questions, and we can talk a little more. But I want to really just get this geared, like, at least 90%, 95% of every episode is all MMA. That's a goal for the Babylon 5 podcast. But I do like that cold open. I like that cold open. We can always cold open and then get to the real shit. We get into the real shit. And the real shits, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, we do awards shows or something like that. We got awards. I feel like just fighters, are fighters of the year. All right? There doesn't need to be one. There doesn't necessarily need to be two. It could be fucking 18. I can say name off 18 people right now that are the fighter of the year. Who's to say that it's not? You know what I'm saying? Like, who's to say that it's not? I saw articles that were like, CBS named this guy. Well, fuck CBS. Where were you guys like 8 years ago? I didn't see you guys covering any of these people. You know what I'm saying? This wasn't your wheelhouse. Fuck CBS. Fuck that promotion that just didn't care to cover the sport until shit got popping, till shit seemed lucrative for you guys. Fuck you guys. But I'm just saying, like, not fuck you guys necessarily. What I'm saying is that your award has no more value to it than me saying an award. You know what I'm saying? There's no more value to it than me. So, fighters, I feel like Fighter of the Year, obvious Fighter of the Year, Kamaru Usman. That man had a phenomenal year. He beat Gilbert Burns. Then in the rematch with Jorge Masvidal, knocks that boy out cold. Beautiful knockout. And then in the rematch with Colby Covington, man, he successfully defends in one of the greatest fights that I've seen. He dropped Colby twice with some stiff punches. Like, the way he dropped Colby, I thought the fight was over. Second round, thought the fight was over, but somehow Colby survived and fought the rest of the rounds out. So, and in my opinion, won a few of them. He's a phenomenal fighter, Colby is. Unfortunately, just couldn't get the job done against Kamaru Usman, who's just that fucking good. Kamaru Usman is just that fucking good. And speaking of that fucking good, as I said to you guys in my year-end episode last year, the guy I predicted would have a phenomenal 2021, the guy I said would be the UFC lightweight champion, Charles Oliveira, is Fighter of the Year, as he is the lightweight champion. He defeated Michael Chandler to become the UFC lightweight champion, and one of the great, and probably the comeback of the year in 2021 is his comeback win. It seemed like he was pretty close to being finished in that first round, and then he came back in the second round and immediately catches Michael Chandler with that hook and fucking finishes him with strikes. Beautiful. And then he comes in and dominates. I told you guys, every week, every day, every time, ever since they announced Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier, I was saying Charles Oliveira is going to finish him. I was like, I think Charles is going to finish him. I was like, everybody's saying, like, oh, this fight's like, they were pretty much saying it was a foregone conclusion that Poirier was going to dominate Oliveira. I'm like, dude, Oliveira is going to finish Dustin Poirier. And sure enough, he did in the third round. Charles is the Fighter of the Year, ladies and gentlemen. I don't see too many people giving him some challenges. See too many people giving Charles Oliveira a tough challenge, man. His skill set, he's too well-rounded. He's too good in the grappling, and then his striking is just beautiful. And he's got a lot of heart. So, Charles Oliveira, Fighter of the Year. We got Valentina Shevchenko. Now, I haven't seen anybody calling for Valentina Shevchenko as Fighter of the Year, but as she is now pound for pound number one women's fighter or female fighter, I don't see how you can't say she's not Fighter of the Year. She, in her title defenses, well, not against Lauren Murphy, but I say against Jennifer Maia, she faced some adversity and showed that she was a true champion, but she beat the shit out of Lauren Murphy. And I'm not going to fault her because she's the best martial artist alive. Like, in my opinion, I'm not going to fault her because she's the best and she's dominating these ladies. I'm not going to hold that against her. So, Valentina Shevchenko is definitely Fighter of the Year. Tell me how she's not. If Kamaru Usman is, then certainly Valentina's up there. I would say Fighter of the Year is Ciryl Gane, ladies and gentlemen. Ciryl Gane, the interim heavyweight champion, who, as I told you guys, would dominate Derek Lewis. He went in there and dominated Derek Lewis, finished Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis, who just, like a week ago, knocked out Dawkins in the very first round became the knockout leader. Ciryl went in there and dominated Derek Lewis. Ciryl Gane is set up to fight Francis Ngannou at UFC 270, the very next pay-per-view we have coming up here in January 22nd. He is set to become the undisputed as he takes on the undisputed champion and Francis Ngannou, man. He's already having a fantastic 2021 Fighter of the Year, in my opinion, and I think he could very well walk out of UFC 270 as the undisputed champion. He's just so skillful. And I had to throw lastly in here for Fighter of the Year, Alexander Volkanovsky, man. Like, I was watching, they just posted a video of, like, fighters reacting to that fight, and it's like, damn, I almost because even when I was watching it live, I wasn't really giving too much respect to the submission attempts from Brian Ortega. A lot of those attempts were deep. They were real deep, and I just wasn't even, I was like, whatever. And, like, as Volkanovski was just popping out in my head, as I'm just sitting there like, you're not going to get it. Like, when he pops out, I didn't really appreciate, like, yo, it makes no sense that he didn't tap, or that he didn't go unconscious. And, like, that first one when he had that mounted guillotine, that was deep. That was crazy, man. He was in so deep, he had the legs wrapped up. Like, that was in deep. All right? That was a phenomenal fight. Alexander Volkanovski is Fighter of the Year. All right? He's showing why nobody can fuck with him at 145 pounds right now. Don't really see too many people giving him any challenges at 145, and I'll stand by that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd say I was thinking like comeback Fighter of the Year, and I think it's got to be Nick Diaz, ladies and gentlemen, who lost his fight, but that comeback was so fucking beautiful. I was like screaming, like, oh my God. Like, if you guys go back and watch that fight against Robbie Lawler and watch the combinations, he's lighting that boy up. Nick Diaz starts the fight. He comes out with like a spinning like roundhouse kick, like a jumping spinning roundhouse kick. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Like, shout out to Nick Diaz as comeback Fighter of the Year. Also comeback Fighter of the Year, Charles Oliveira, as I mentioned, his comeback versus Michael Chandler. And honestly, in that first round, it got pretty dicey against Dustin Poirier. You know what I'm saying? He faced a lot of adversity in that first round and then came out in the second round and just started to dominate Dustin Poirier. That was the start of the end for Dustin Poirier, who just laid on his back. And he was like, I can't attempt to get up because if I do, he's going to choke me the fuck out. He's going to take my back, choke me out. Third round came, he took his back immediately, choked him out. He knew what it was. He knew what it was. So Charles Oliveira, comeback Fighter of the Year, and Merab. Yeah, Merab. Dowalish Willie. Shout out to Merab. Comeback Fighter of the Year. His fight against Marlon Moraes, man. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Moraes. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Kevin fucking Gastelum. He might end up fighting in Eagle FC. Let him fuck around and lose one more time. He's like 29 years old, but Jesus. He's just, I don't know, man. Sometimes you see him and he looks phenomenal. You're like, fuck yeah, Gastelum. And then he comes out there and he just looks like the most average fighter. It's like, what are you doing, man? It's like, get out of that. Why are you staying there? Why are you in that position? It's usually weird, the fights that he's losing, because, yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with Gastelum. I'd love to see him win. As I said, I wanted to see the rematch with Adesanya, but who knows if he'd ever make it back there. People talking about him moving back down to 170. They were saying he couldn't do it for years. And I'm like, dude, he looks like a 170. He looks fucking undersized at 185. So hopefully he can somehow make the weight at 170 and find some real success for Kelvin Gastelum just to go on there, man. I saw that they're booking Paddy Pimblett versus Donald Cerrone at UFC 272, man. I don't know, man. What does that fight look like? At 155? Can Cowboy successfully make that cut? I'm pretty sure he can still make that 155. But is Paddy ready for a veteran like Cerrone? I don't know. We'll see, man. It did get dicey in that first one. He almost got knocked out. We saw what happened when, how did I forget? Alex Hernandez, I believe, lost to Donald Cerrone. I mean, he's come back a little better. He's had some fights, some good fights here and there. But, like, the hype is never the same. Pre the Cowboy Cerrone fight, the hype has never been the same. And I don't want to see someone like at Cowboys fight. This be potentially like a retirement fight is what it kind of looks like. I don't want to see him beat Paddy and take Paddy's hype. I mean, if Paddy's going to lose, then whatever. But, you know, if you're going to lose, you're going to lose. But especially if you're going to lose to Cerrone, then the fuck do you think is going to happen when you get to that top 10? Because Cerrone, I say Cerrone can still bang with some of them niggas in the top 10. I don't know. Maybe. He got dominated by, I was thinking about Tony Ferguson. Ferguson shouldn't even be there. So I don't know. I hope Paddy the Baddie Pimblett defeats Donald Cerrone. I don't know. I kind of hope that fight doesn't happen. I kind of hope that fight doesn't happen, but who knows, man? Sorry. With the way things are, the fighters are getting replaced like every other day. They'll announce a fight, then like by next week, like both fighters have been switched out a few different times. It's like, now, nope, that guy's not fighting this guy. Now this guy's stepping in to fight that guy. Then tomorrow, it's like, wait, nope, he's not fighting that guy because that guy had to step out, and now he's fighting that guy. That's what it seems like every other day. So right now, that's the plan that they're saying is Paddy the Baddie Pimblett versus Donald Cerrone, but who knows if it ever actually happens. And I kind of hope it doesn't. Now, I'm going to run through all the male champions. All the divisions and what I feel like are some of the toughest challenges for these fighters. Starting at flyweight, champion Brandon Assassin Baby Moreno. You know, after the first fight with Davis and Figueiredo, I didn't expect him to dominate Figueiredo the way that he did in the second fight. So that was kind of a surprise for me, man. I say tough fights for him are Askar Askarov, Kai Kara-France, Davison Figueiredo, Alexandre Pantoja, Alex Perez. I feel like there's tough fights all through that division, which means I think I've put down more tough fights in that division than any of the other divisions, man. That tells you how great that division is, how even it looks like the competition is, but even with like the different skill sets, like between Askar Askarov's skill set and a Kai Kara-France's skill set, who I think those two are just matched up. But Davison Figueiredo is about to get his rematch. I've seen him trading with John Jones and Henry Cejudo. I just saw a picture of that. They're all so. There's so many X factors there. There's so many X factors in that division. I'm not sure who comes out on top at the end of 2022, man. If I had to put my eggs in any basket, damn, I'd probably go Davison Figueiredo, man. I'm still on the Davison Figueiredo hype train. Like, I didn't expect him to get dominated in the way that he was in the second fight. And if he's able to, like, utilize the wrestling training that he's doing with Cejudo and, like, be patient as he was in the first fight, as he was against fucking Benavidez in the first fight, Second fight, he was just like, I'm coming for this nigga. And he just walked through Benavidez. Benavidez had nothing for him. So I still think, like, I'd go with Deiveson Figueiredo to be the champion at the end of 2022 at flyweight. Bantamweight, current champion Aljamain Sterling, interim champion Petr Yan, who just had a phenomenal fight versus Corey Sandhagen. Petr Yan beat Corey Sandhagen to become the interim champion. Man, I say toughest fights for Aljamain Sterling, Petr Yan. If that's his next fight, which I'm pretty sure it is with Petr Yan being the interim champion, I think that's the only tough fight for him as champion. As I see Petr Yan leaving 2022 as the undisputed champion, I don't see too many people at bantamweight really doing anything. Petr Yan is just so good everywhere. His boxing is so crisp. He's just got so much power. Like, his defense is great. He does the Philly shell, or not the Philly shell, because I think that's what they call the shit that Floyd does. I guess I call it Philly shell because nigga come through like this and just shell up, let you counterattack him, get tired, and then he just fucking unloads fucking ungodly power on you. It's pretty crazy. So we saw the first fight with Aljamain Sterling and Petr Yan, and man, and I saw Petr Yan fight Corey Sandhagen, and I don't think anybody beats Petr Yan right now. That man is fucking scary, all right? I got Petr Yan as undisputed bantamweight champion at the end of 2022. That's my prediction for bantamweight. Featherweight, current champion Alexander Volkanovsky. Tough fights I see for Alexander Volkanovsky in 2022. Yair Rodriguez. That boy had a phenomenal fight against Max Holloway. I scored it for him. I think he only needs one more fight, and then his next fight is the championship. He looked fucking phenomenal against Max Holloway. He lost by the judges, but I thought he looked fucking great. Another tough fight I see for Alexander Volkanovsky is Korean Zombie. He stepped his game up. He looked very much improved in his last fight in his striking, and he's always been pretty decently rounded. He's got great submissions. But now that he's like stepped up, he's improved his striking, which I always thought was a hole because he just chases people. And they call him the zombie because he just takes a bunch of fucking damage and keeps coming forward. But he stepped up his striking, was way more patient, and was cutting people off as they're trying to circle. He finally was shoring up those holes. So those are the toughest opponents. And I just don't think that Max Holloway can beat Alexander Volkanovsky. I think Volkanovsky just has his number, man. I think they're booked to have the third fight, and I think Volkanovsky is going to win that fight, if not finish Max Holloway. I think Max showed a lot of holes in that fight with Yair. He showed a lot of bad tendencies, and I think that's just... He didn't want to have that fight right before he fights Volkanovsky for a third time. And I think Volkanovsky easily beats Max Holloway. And I would definitely say Volkanovsky will most likely still be champion at the end of 2022, if not Yair Rodriguez. That boy looks pretty good. Lightweight champion Charles Oliveira. Toughest matchups, Justin Gaethje, Islam Makhachev. Gaethje is most likely the next actual challenge. Even if he fights Conor McGregor next, I don't believe Conor McGregor has anything for Charles Oliveira. I think Charles would walk through this man. That's why he said we can fight at any weight class. He was like, I'm waiting for Conor. We can fight at middleweight, heavyweight. I don't care. Like, let me just fight that dude. Because Charles Oliveira would dominate Conor McGregor everywhere. That's just it. For me, that's the way I see it. I think the toughest matchup for Charles Oliveira in 2022 will be eventually if he fights Islam Makhachev. I think that's the toughest fight for him, and I think Islam has the highest chance of dethroning Charles Oliveira. If Charles Oliveira does not walk out of 2022 and still as the champion, as lightweight champion, then Islam Makhachev will. He's the only person I see right now outside of, and I don't think he's going to make it there in 2022 to a title shot, possibly 2023, is, as I've said here before, Arman Tsarukyan, I would say, is the only other person at lightweight that I see as a tough challenge there for Charles Oliveira. I think he's a tough fight for everybody. I just love, huge Arman Tsarukyan fan. Huge Tsarukyan fan. So I just think he's just a tough challenge, and I want to throw an honorable mention to Mateusz Gamrot, all right? Shout out to Mateusz Gamrot as an honorable mention here as a tough challenge at 155 going forward here. But I see no way Conor has anything for Oliveira. Wait, do whatever you can. Wait till after Gaethje. And do whatever you can, like, to bulk up and fight fucking Charles and get fucking finished. I don't see Conor having anything for Charles Oliveira in 2022 and 2023 and 20 fucking. You got to go back to 2010 or some shit. You got to go back in time to when Conor was just on fire, and he's got to be in there like with Charles when Charles just wasn't doing enough. You know what I'm saying? When Charles wasn't doing, you got to catch Charles back when he was losing, before the streak started. That's what you'd have to do for Conor to beat Oliveira. You'd have to go back in time, my nigga. You have to go back in time. Because it'll never happen in the future. Welterweight Maniji. Kamaru Usman, the champion. Fighter of the year, Kamaru Usman. Toughest challenges that I see for Kamaru Usman, Khamzat Chimaev. Boars, motherfucker. Toughest matchup I see right now in the immediate future is Khamzat Chimaev. And in the not-so-distant future, I believe, Muslim Salikov. Muslim Salikov will be a tough challenge. I think these two gentlemen have the skill set to really give Kamaru Usman some challenges. Otherwise, I feel like it's clear sailing for Kamaru Usman just right through that division. We'll see what happens with Leon Edwards. But I think it's pretty smooth sailing for my boy Kamaru Usman. Getting a little stuffy here. I want to throw an honorable mention to Michel Pereira if he was able to. I know he's like been a little more patient in his last couple fights, but I feel like if he's able to like get wild in there with Kamaru Usman, that's just something you can't really prepare for. So, honorable mention Michel Pereira out there. I think these fighters have the skill set to potentially dethrone Kamaru Usman. And at middleweight, you got Maniji, Israel Adesanya. And his toughest matchups, I would say, his next matchup, Robert Whittaker in a rematch. That's a tough matchup that I see for Israel Adesanya. But I think he could win that fight. I think, ladies and gentlemen, the toughest fight that I see for Israel Adesanya, maybe you guys know. You know who it is? It's Nasruddin Imavov. Nasruddin Imavov is the toughest fight. Look at his skill set. This guy who used to spar with Francis Ngannou, get him ready for these heavyweight fights, taking all them punches coming forward. That guy, with his wrestling, he's coming in here to fight Israel Adesanya, who just got dominated on the ground. I think that fight could look pretty ugly for Israel Adesanya if it ends on the ground. If it ends up on the ground, things could go pretty bad for my boy Israel Adesanya. So I think Nasruddin Imavov is the toughest fight for Israel Adesanya, and I think shit, if that fight happens, I think Nasruddin could walk out of there and new. So my thinking is Israel will retain at the end of 2022. Israel will be champion unless he has to face Nasruddin Imavov in 2022. Then I'm not sure he walks away with that belt. I think there will be an new if he has to face Nasruddin. I don't think with the difference in grappling, there won't be a point. There's not enough time where he could, you know what I'm saying, develop enough to defend against that level of grappling is what I'm saying. So I think Imavov could be the next champion at middleweight. I think all the fucking champions are going to be fucking have these evolve kind of names, these Russian names. I think that's what it's all going to be. Chimaev, Magomed. That's what all the champions are going to sound like by the end of 2023. Honorable mentions here, I want to say Alex Pereira as an honorable mention. If he's able to move up in the ranks, he has 2 defeats over Israel Adesanya in kickboxing. So, honorable mention Alex Pereira. Light heavyweight, Glover Teixeira, who finished Jan Blachowicz in probably the most feel-good moment of the year. Probably the best MMA moment of the year goes to, if not the past 10 years, will go to Glover Teixeira at 40 years old, I believe, maybe older than 40, defeating Jan Blachowicz and becoming UFC light heavyweight champion. That was a phenomenal moment. I almost forgot that it happened. It was like, he dominated Jan. It wasn't even a competition. So, once again, congrats to Glover Teixeira. Fuck it. He's fighter of the year. Tough matchups I see for him potentially, dude. I would say maybe Yuri Prochazka, maybe. Because he's right up there as the next contender. But, like, with the grappling, I don't know if I've seen enough grappling acumen from Yuri where if it ends up in those situations that he could really fight off Glover. Or Glover might just grown man him as he did Jan Blachowicz, the former champion. He dominated Jan. Which brings me to the grappling. Because, you know, it's just hard for me to really scale Glover. But the grappling, as I said, I feel like every champion will have a Russian name at the end of by 2023. So I say the toughest fight for Glover Teixeira, and I think the champion at the end of 2022 will be Magomed Ankalaev. He's right there on the cusp of getting a title shot, and I think once he does, he's going to take that belt. And right now, I don't see who beats Magomed Ankalaev. He's got the skills to pay the bills, ladies and gentlemen. I think Magomed Ankalaev will be the champion, light heavyweight champion at the end of 2022. That's my pick for light heavyweight. And here we go with heavyweight. Champion currently Francis Ngannou, interim champion Ciryl Gane. Toughest challenges that I could see for Francis, obviously Ciryl Gane, who he's fighting in a few weeks here. In about a month here, actually. A little less than a month. And then John Jones, who is that X Factor. You know, we don't know if John will ever fight again. He's beating his wife. He's doing all kinds of crazy shit. So we don't know if John Jones will ever... He's beating his wife and trying to headbutt police cars and telling them, like, oh, why don't you take off the cuffs and see if you go, I'll take me. Like, all you guys against one. Like, who knows if that guy ever fights again? You know what I'm saying? But regardless of that X Factor, I think Ciryl Gane is the most talented heavyweight, if not one of the most talented fighters I've ever seen. So I don't think there's too much, other than a one-hit quitter by Francis Ngannou, but I don't think there's too much that's going to stop Ciryl Gane from walking out of 2022 as the undisputed heavyweight champion in the UFC. That's where I'm going with that one. And if you guys want to follow this podcast. Yeah, I'm getting out of here, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get out of here. That's all we're talking about today. It's my last prediction that I have here. I didn't go off the women's champions. I could go through the women's divisions next week, possibly. I'm going to try to watch The Matrix. I'm going to talk to you guys about Insecure. You know, there's not a lot of fights going on right now, not until, like, the week after that when, as I told you, Giga Chikadze fights Calvin Kattar. And I was watching the Calvin Kattar versus Max Holloway highlights again. And, my God, I'm screaming at the highlights. Stop the fight! Stop! I forgot how much he beat the fuck out of Calvin Kattar. It's uncomfortable. So we don't have fights coming up, but I'm going to talk to you guys about fighters and fights because that's what we do here at the Babylon 5 podcast. And if you guys want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon 5 Pod. You can follow my personal account at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. And if you guys want to if you guys want to favorite this podcast right now, favorite this podcast, hit like, do whatever you guys can to let the algorithms know that you love the Babylon 5 podcast. And if you guys want to follow this podcast on Twitch, go ahead to twitch.tv/Babylon5. You guys can buy this merchandise. Go buy some merchandise right now. Go to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. Give it to your friend for Kwanzaa. And lastly, go to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod and be my patron. Thank you guys so much for being here this week. If I go to the doctor and find out I'm dying, you guys will be the first to know. I guess it's not funny. But, yeah, I'm getting up out of here. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you guys are safe with your new year. And I will see you in 2023. Peace. Or, I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla.
Chant down Babylon Kingdom. Team make me chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling chant down Babylon Kingdom. Team make me chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon Kingdom. Team make me chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling chant down Babylon Kingdom. Team make me chant down Vatican now.